Inquisitorial Conclave. This comprehensive report serves to provide the esteemed Ordo Malleus with a thorough analysis of the abhorrent beings known as Great Unclean Ones, the towering demonic monstrosities that herald from the malevolent warp entity known as Nurgle. These repugnant entities epitomize the unyielding putrescence and decay that characterize the plague god's malign influence. Within this data, we shall explore the origins, traits, and tactical considerations concerning these loathsome abominations. This knowledge shall be our bastion against the horrors of chaos, preserving the sanctity of the Emperor's realm. The Great Unclean Ones, behemoths of filth and pestilence, emerge from the foul and noxious realm of Nurgle within the warp. Nurgle, the chaos god of decay, plague, and despair, festers amidst the deepest recesses of the immaterial realm, bestowing his repugnant blessings upon mortals in exchange for their souls and allegiance. These loathsome beings, once mortal champions who succumbed to Nurgle's corrupting influence, now form the stalwart champions and demonic servants of the plague god. The Great Unclean Ones stand as living representations of Nurgle's will. Towering grotesques, their corpulent forms ooze with noxious pus and wriggle with vile parasites. Clothed in decay-ridden flesh, they wield rusted, plague-ridden blades and wield formidable dark magics, emanating an aura of pestilence that infects the very air around them. Though revolting to behold, they exude a twisted charisma that can allure and ensnare the weak-willed. The plague god bestows an array of gifts upon his Great Unclean Ones, making them formidable adversaries in battle. Their resolute bodies can shrug off even the most grievous of wounds, and they regenerate with unnatural celerity. Nurgle's demonic servants possess control over poxes and plagues, capable of unleashing virulent diseases upon their foes, causing them to succumb to despair and rot. Great Unclean Ones are sorcerers of contagion, capable of casting potent psychic spells known as the Chant of Contagion. Through these vile incantations, they can afflict their enemies with virulent diseases, gnawing at both flesh and spirit. The Chant of Contagion serves not only as a weapon but also as a means to spread Nurgle's foul influence, converting more souls to his worship. Great Unclean Ones are often accompanied by a horde of plague-bearers, lesser daemons who share their affinity for pestilence. These plague-bearers bolster the demonic host, acting as foot soldiers in the spread of Nurgle's contagion. Unified by a telepathic link to their Great Unclean One, they move with a pestilent determination that challenges even the most resolute of defenders. Encountering a Great Unclean One on the field of battle is a grave threat that demands strategic consideration. These demonic beings are virtually immune to conventional weaponry, necessitating the use of potent psychic attacks, arcane technologies, or blessed weapons to inflict significant harm. The contagion they spread can engulf entire armies if left unchecked, necessitating immediate quarantine and containment measures. Great Unclean Ones possess a peculiar effect on the morale and morale-boosting capabilities of opposing forces. The sight of these monstrous abominations can instill a profound sense of despair and hopelessness in even the bravest of souls. Furthermore, their mere presence can corrupt the very land upon which they tread, turning fertile soil into barren wastes, spreading the taint of decay across the battlefield. Great Unclean Ones epitomize resilience, with flesh that can withstand even the most potent of blows. Traditional weaponry is often insufficient to harm them significantly. Their bodies constantly regenerate, knitting wounds closed and mending shattered bones. This unyielding vitality makes them incredibly difficult to take down through conventional means. As masters of decay and disease, Great Unclean Ones have the ability to summon and unleash noxious plagues upon their foes. They can imbue their attacks with pestilence, turning every strike into a vector for virulent infection. Wounds inflicted by the Great Unclean Ones' rusted weapons or corpulent appendages can fester into agonizing and fatal diseases, weakening their enemies over time. The presence of a Great Unclean One upon the battlefield is itself a weapon. The demonic aura they emanate can corrupt the very land around them, transforming once fertile soil into a blighted wasteland. Plants wither, animals die, and the natural order is disrupted by Nurgle's baleful touch. This tainted terrain serves as a breeding ground for foul fungi and parasitic creatures, furthering the spread of Nurgle's influence. Even in the direst of circumstances, the Great Unclean Ones are nigh unstoppable. When seemingly felled in battle, they can retreat to the warp to rejuvenate and reform their corrupted flesh. This ability allows them to return to the battlefield with renewed vigor, presenting an enduring threat that must be faced time and again. The Imperium must remain vigilant and steadfast in its devotion to the Emperor. The Great Unclean Ones and their sinister master Nurgle are but reflections of the mortal weaknesses that haunt humanity. Faith in the Emperor's light, bolstered by the blessings of the Ecclesiarchy and the might of the Adeptus Astartes, serves as our shield against these demonic terrors. Inquisitors and their retinues must stand united, casting aside all doubts and fears, for our sacred duty lies in the defense of humanity against the encroaching darkness. The Great Unclean Ones, as avatars of Nurgle's inexorable decay, embody the darkness that besieges our galaxy. To counter their malevolence, we must arm ourselves with the knowledge of their origins, strengths, and weaknesses. Only through vigilance, faith, and unity can we preserve the sanctity of the Emperor's realm and safeguard the Imperium against the relentless tide of chaos. The Ordo Malleus shall remain resolute in our resolve, ever watchful for the signs of the Plague God's encroachment, ready to vanquish any demonic horror that dares to defy the Emperor's light.